Yeah, dear student, welcome back to the business study class, and our chapter going on is chapter 3, that is private, public and global enterprises. So private type of enterprises I already taught you in chapter 2, that is sole proprietorship, Hindu undivided family, partnership, company, joint stock company, joint ventures. Clear? I already taught you. Clear? Public sector enterprises we are studying under it. Global enterprises has been deleted from your chapter for this year. So today's topic is government policy toward the public sector since 1991. Clear? I would like to tell you that after the independence, government has taken up a task to settle up the factory where nobody is interested or keen to invest high amount of investment in the industry. So government has taken the initiative to settle up the plant and factories where nobody is showing any interest. So that thing is called public sector. So since 4 decades, public PSUs has worked very well, but as the globalization was coming up after 91, the public sector started underperforming. Clear? So government has amended its industrial policy resolution in the year 1991 and set up few norms towards the public sector. Clear? So government of India had introduced 4 major reform in the public sector as its new industrial policy 1991. It is also known as NIP. New Industrial Policy 1991. NIP. In short, it is called NIP. Okay, so what were the first 4 important points of the new industrial policy? The first was that restructure and revive potentially viable PSUs. Restructure and revive potentially viable PSUs. This means those PSUs which are not performing well because of the reason new investment is required, new capital is required, new machinery, technology is required, and they have the capacity to get revived. Or potentially viable means iron and steel. If any industry is performing or underperforming, then it is the basic need. Cement. There are so many factories which are having potentially viable means can be survive, but they need some reforms. They need some money, capital infusion, technology infusion. There might be several things. So if there is a potentially viable, so restructure and revive, provide them the capital or some expert advice, whatever they are in need. Close down PSUs which can't be revived. Which cannot be revived. Clear? There is no chance of its revival, or even after infusing money, it would not be possible to revive the company. Close that company, and for that purpose government has created BIFR. Clear? What is that? Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction. Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction was created. The main object of this BIFR is to see that whether the PSU is being able to revive or not, or whether the company is viable or not. If it is viable to invest, board will suggest the government to make a capital infusion or technology infusion or requirement of some professional or something like that. Close down PSUs which cannot be revived, there is no chance of the revival or to invest the money or to invest capital in the company, board will give its recommendation to the government. If there is no possibility of its revival, close that company, put that company into the liquidation, sell out the assets and pay off the liabilities of that company, whether in full or in partial. This was the main purpose for which this BIFI was created. Okay. Next, bring down government equity participation participation in non-strategic units up to 26% or lower. Clear? Now what does it mean? As I told you, government is in our country was equivalent businessman. Even government has bragged by the name of modern factory. They have even made wristwatches by the name of HMT tractor. So the fourth point of the reform was, and we have discussed up to 3. Last was fully protect the interests of the worker. No worker shall be retrenched or be in layoff just because the factory is closed. It was the provision was created by the government to deploy them somewhere else in other factories. Clear? Now we are going to study about the further more points on the NIP, New Industrial Policy 1991. Clear? So we studied the 4 reforms. Now we are going to study the main provision. That is reduction in the number of PSUs from 26 to 17 to 8 and afterwards 3. As I told you that government was equivalent to businessman in our country, and at the same time they have created the licensing system also, because that besides government nobody else could start a factory over that in particular area. So in 1956 resolution, industrial policy, 17 industries were reserved for the public sector. Clear? In the industrial policy resolution of 1956 provided that 17 sectors where PSUs will work. Clear? In the previous policy, but in the new industrial policy of the 1991, from 17 it was reduced to 8 and afterwards to 3. So in 56 it was decided, and after 34 years this thing was deleted. Clear? Now what are these? First is atomic energy, railways, arms and communication. So 91 decision was taken to reduce the PSUs from or industry reserve for the public sector from 17 to 8 and afterwards 3. And these 3 were atomic energy, arms and rail transport. And railways. This simple means that besides these 3, private sector can enter into any area, except, and the public sector would have to compete with them. The public sector has played a vital role in the development of the economy. However, the private sector is also quite capable of contributing substantially to the nation building process. Therefore, both the public sector and private sector need to be viewed as mutually complementary parts of national sector. Private sector units also have to assume greater public responsibilities simultaneously. The public sector need to focus on achieving more in highly competitive market. Okay. Second is disinvestment. Disinvestment in select Clear? Disinvestment means government will sell its share. Investment means government will put down his investment in the company or factory. Disinvestment means government will sell its share to the private sector and public. The objective was to raise resources and encourage wider participation of the general public and workers in the ownership of these enterprises. The government had taken a decision to withdraw from industrial sector and reduce its equity on all undertaking. It was expected that this would lead to improving managerial performance and ensuring financial discipline, but there remains a lot to be done in this area. The primary objective of private public sector enterprises are as follows. Okay. So what was that? Releasing the large amount of resource locked up in non-strategic PSUs. The basic objective was to release a large amount of the resource being locked up in non-strategic issues. I told you government has made bread also. It's not the duty of the government to make a bread for the public. Any simple businessman or a bakery man can do that thing. So government taken a decision to disinvest the share. What previous government did? They felt the need and they started the factory. Now there is no need because time is continuously changing. So release the large amount of the resource locked up in non-strategic enterprises, so that they may be utilized on other socially priority areas such as basic health, family welfare and primary education. Clear? Next, reducing the amount of public debt and interest thereon. In order to fulfill its expenses, government has to borrow from the public or from the bank. So whenever the government sell its share, they will get their money back and they will be paid for the reducing the amount of the public debt and interest thereon. In this way, the amount received from the disinvestment will be used. Next is transferring the risk to commercial sector. Transferring the risk to commercial sector. Okay, why the government shall bear all the risk? That the commercial risk shall be transferred to the commercial risk to the private sector, so that funds are invested in able projects. Okay. Second, next, freeing these enterprises from government control, which is not required at all. In order to make a bread, there is, or a pav or any other bakery product, there is no need of government control. So freeing this enterprise from the government control and introduction of corporate governance. And introduction of corporate governance. This was the basic objective. Okay. And the next was even to cut down the monopoly of government. Wherever the government is enjoying the monopoly, the staff would have become the lethargic. So in order to cut down the monopoly of the government, example is the telecom sector. Clear? So there was a very lethargic process. If you file an application today, you will get a telephone connection after 2 to 3 years. That was the pendency of the government. Clear? Even if you have got the connection, you are not able to get the handset to make a call. So because of the monopoly of the government, presence of the red tape, the government employees would have become lethargic. So in order to avoid that thing, the government has introduced the private person. That is why the telecom license was given to the Bharti Mittal. Nowadays it's Airtel. Okay. So the basic benefit which the government consumer get, the consumer are benefited by more choices, lower prices, and better quality of the product and services. Okay. So this was the main objective. Now we are going to study the last point: how to deal with the sick units. How to deal with the sick units. So the government policy regarding sick units, government policy regarding the sick unit to be same as that of private sector. Government has taken a decision that policy regarding the sick unit to be same as that of private sector. It is not necessary that it is a government company, so it is good to run the government company or a factory in a loss. In a situation of loss, there is no need to destroy the public money. It's better to shut it down. So all public sector units were referred to the BIFR. That is why government has created BIFR, Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction. That board will decide whether the sick unit was to be restructured or closed down. The board has reconsidered revival and rehabilitation scheme for some cases and winding up on number of units. There is a lot of resentment among the worker of the unit which are to be closed down. A national renewal fund was set up by the government to retain or redeploy retrenched labor and to provide compensation to public sector employees seeking voluntary retirement. There are many enterprises which are sick and not capable of being revived as they have accumulated huge losses. Sometimes the losses of the public sector were so high that it would almost be impossible to revive it. With public finances under intense pressure, both central and state government are just not able to sustain them much longer. The only option available to the government in such cases is to close down these undertakings after providing a safety net for the employees and workers. Resources under the National Renewal Fund have not been sufficient to meet the cost of voluntary separation scheme or voluntary retirement scheme. Okay. Afterward, government has taken a very good step of signing memorandum of understanding. Okay. In short, it is called MOUs. So improvement of performance through MOUs, system by which management are to be granted greater autonomy but held accountable for a specified unit. In some cases, what was happening, because of the government control, companies were not able to perform well. So in these cases, officers have taken the responsibility to run those enterprises and to prove to the government that they can run those enterprises. So for that purpose, MOUs were signed in order to grant greater autonomy but held accountable for the losses or for the specified result. Under this system, public sector units were given clear targets and operational autonomy for achieving those targets. The MOU was between the particular public sector unit and their administrative ministry, defining their relationship and autonomy. Okay? So this was the government policy towards the public sector. I hope this would be helpful for you. You have also studied the same thing in your 10th economics, in the liberalization policy, LPG policy, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Okay, student, I would like to tell you that the next topic, global enterprises, is deleted for this session from your book. So the features of global enterprise is also deleted. Clear? Joint venture is also deleted. And this public-private partnership is also deleted. I hope this will be helpful for you. Have a thorough understanding of the concept, thorough understanding of the chapter. Read English newspaper. That will be helpful for you. Thank you. Happy learning.